Hi, this is John Robinson with another episode of How to Identify Birds by Sight and by Sound. Today we're going to be looking at the wood thrush. And just as with all of our other videos in this series, we'll start with showing you how to use the North American Bird Reference Book software, which is a program I developed a few years ago, how to use that software to aid in the identification of this species. If you don't yet have this software, just follow the links on the screen to get back to our website at www.onmymountain.com and you can pick up the software there. All right, so once the software is installed on your computer, we click on the Reference Book 5.0 icon, which I'm showing in the middle of the screen. That'll launch the reference book, and when you're at the main screen, what you want to do is click on the big button that says Reference Book to enter the part of the software where we can begin working on the identification of whatever species we're interested in. As always, the list over on the left-hand side, you can scroll through this list, and all the common birds in North America are on display right now, but you can scroll through this list until you find the bird that you're interested in. So for example, I've seen wood thrush right here, so I can click on that. But also, if you don't want to scroll through the list, for example, let me just select a different species here. I've selected the Veery. If you don't want to scroll through this list, you just simply click on Find Record, and that'll open up this list box down at the bottom, and you can type in the species that you're looking for. In this case, wood thrush, and press the Enter key. And that brings the wood thrush up on the screen. Now, with the wood thrush up on the screen, we can um, view a variety of information. Let's start with the natural history. We see that this bird is a species that's found in deciduous forests and woodlands. Um, these deciduous forests may contain pines and other coniferous trees, or they may be 100% deciduous forests. But this is a bird that is just as easily at home in a suburban park with wooded trees as it will be in a remote forest where there's no building in sight. So if you live in a tiny town with a lot of woods in the neighborhood, even in your backyard, you'll hear this species singing. Let's take a look at the range map. The range map is very distinctive. This is a bird. We'll click on the range map here to get a larger image. But this is a bird that uh, pretty much is found in the eastern United States. And its range goes all the way up towards Canada, just touches on southeast Canada. And so that entire red area there is where it breeds. And then it migrates in winter to Mexico, Central America, and South America. And that's where it will spend its winter. All right, so we can go ahead and exit the form by clicking on the Exit Form button. That takes us back to the main screen. And when we're at the main screen, we now have another options to take a look at how to identify this bird. Let's focus on the image of the bird. And when we're looking at the bird, if we want to see a larger image, we just click on that to enlarge it. All right, so now we're back in the in-flight field viewer where we can actually see a larger image of the wood thrush. Here are some of the things you want to take a look at. Notice the back and the lower back and tail. Olive brown color on the lower back and tail, but the rufous coloration on the head and the nape of the neck. Very, very distinctive, that rufus reddish brown color on the head and nape of the neck. Notice also the large black spots that go all the way from the top of the breast down to the lower belly. Um, these spots are larger and more distinctive and more readily seen than on any other thrush in North America. So pretty much when you're looking at a wood thrush. All right, we can also, while this bird is on display, we can move over to the right-hand side of the screen and we can click on the play song to hear what it sounds like. So let's listen to the song of the wood thrush. All right, now what you're listening to is 3 to 5 notes. And it's a flute-like song, 3 to 5 notes, each of which is on a slightly different pitch. And then it has a characteristic complex trill at the end. And so let's listen to it one more time. All right, so the great example of how the wood thrush is, and again, this is the species that we're looking at. Now let's go ahead and exit out of this form, and now we're going to come back and take a look at how we tell the wood thrush apart from similarly appearing species. So now we're back on the main screen, and this time what we want to do is we want to click on Compare Photos, and we're going to want to compare the wood thrush, which is showing up here on the left-hand side. We want to compare that with the ovenbird. So let's go ahead and select the ovenbird from the list box in the Compare To side of the screen. There's the ovenbird. All right, now the ovenbird is very distinctive as well. Notice the back, all the way from the head to the tail. The ovenbird is pretty much olive brown all the way up and down from the head to the tail. It doesn't have that rufous reddish brown color on the head. And it also has a central stripe through the crown, has a very, very noticeable eye ring, and it's also smaller. So the ovenbird is averages 1 to 2.5 inches smaller than the wood thrush. So it's a smaller bird, doesn't have that rufous red coloration on the head and nape, and it also has a central crown stripe. Both of these birds are readily at home sitting on the ground, and of course, when you see a bird like this on the ground, it's easy to confuse the two, but now you have some tips on how to separate them apart from one another. All right, so what we're going to do now is exit out of this screen, and then we'll come back to the main screen of the reference book. And what we'll do is show you how to identify this bird in real life using songs and field marks right out in the natural world. And notice how the wood thrush will sing all the way up till it gets dark. You'll see that in the upcoming video.
I think. Okay, we've got a new bird here. It sounds like a flute, and it's called a wood thrush. I'm going to pause here and just let you listen to it. All right, so you can hear that kind of a flute-like song going. That's the song of the wood thrush. This is one of the most beautiful songs in all of North America. Now, this bird is suffering from several problems, including forest fragmentation, as well as brood parasitism by the brown-headed cowbird. But let's listen again to the song of the wood thrush. Okay, so you heard that flute-like song. And we'll continue to find more birds and share with you how to identify them by sight and by sound.